Hello, welcome to our who's this the Dim to Rise podcast, and I have with me a person who is very focused on women's empowerment, and she's a coach and a trauma transformation practitioner whose perspective is rooted in both science and spirituality. And she has been a consultant and writer in the medical field for more than 25 years, while pursuing her own deep healing from trauma through yoga, energy therapy, and many other practices that engage the body, breath, heart, mind, and soul in the vital work of personal development. She is a longtime yoga teacher, certified master emotional freedom integrated technique practitioner, Reiki master teacher, and certified practitioner of integrated energy therapy and soul realignment. And she weaves all of these modalities as well as somatic healing techniques into her woman-centered coaching to help what? To help women heal trauma, release fear and shame, build resiliency, and claim emotional freedom. She is the founder of Empower Your Potential.ca, as well as Midlife Divorce Transformation. Oh, an online support and education group for women going through or seeking to recover from the end of the long-term marriage. She offers one-on-one and group programs in such areas as healing childhood trauma, fostering self-esteem, creating healthy relationships, and turning your divorce into the best thing that ever happened to you. Wow. Let us all welcome Melanie Starr. Melanie, good day to all. It's afternoon, so good afternoon to you.
Thanks, Cynthia. It's great to be
Mhm.
here. Thank you for inviting me onto your show.
Oh, it's a pleasure, and it's an honor to have you with us here at Dream to Rise. And okay, we let's start with our interview. I would just like to ask you if you could tell us something about yourself and what got you to where you are right now, that you have
Okay, well,
become now.
what I've come to believe and understand in the last, number of years is that I actually think that I have a soul contract to help other people heal from pain and
Uh-huh.
trauma, which is more of a mission than a dream, but it's become a dream to get the business structure going to make this really, really happen on a bigger scale. And I think that this soul contract mission is why I've experienced so much pain and trauma in my own life, so that I know what it's like on a deep level. It's not an intellectual like idea that I have that I learned in a book or courses or a degree or anything. I learned it from living it.
Yeah.
So, from childhood sexual abuse to, because of the childhood sexual abuse, I became a risk taker in my teens and as a young woman, and I was involved in a lot of, sort of high risk sports. And as a result, I got involved in a lot of high impact crashes and I got hurt a lot. And that's what led me into yoga in my mid 20s. I actually got very involved in yoga and did my yoga teacher training at that time. And I do believe it's the fact that throughout the years of raising my kids and running my own business as a communications consultant, which I'm still a communications consultant as well as a coach. I think it was the fact that I had a dedicated yoga practice for 20 years, like 5 days a week, an hour and a half a day kind of situation, that I think has given me the nervous system capacity to survive and not get completely broken by all of the stuff that later unfolded. So I won't go into all the details. No one has the time. And a lot of it's just, I have boundaries about what I talk about. But, there was a lot of trauma that unfolded over in my 40s and 50s, including the sudden death of my brother. My daughter, her best friend killed herself. And then that really had a big effect on my daughter. My husband developed throat cancer. My daughter developed a life-threatening eating disorder. My marriage imploded. And the odd thing is that I was actually, before all of this happened, I was already living my dream. I was running my own business out of my home office. We had a beautiful home and a beautiful family. We lived on the ocean in an amazing community It was just could have and should have been perfect, but it kind of got swept away in this tidal wave of trauma that, all those things I talked about above, that in retrospect, as I look back and as I've learned more about how the nervous system works and how people develop emotionally, is that my former husband and I had really were altered, like our nervous systems were altered by the things that happened. And this had a big effect, like on our nervous systems. We both had become very dysregulated and not able to really manage our emotions and responses anymore. And we were making each other worse, right? Like we were not in a virtual cycle. We were in a bit of a vicious cycle where it got to such a point that I had to leave. I had to end it. It wasn't good for either of us or the family, how things were with the amount of dysregulation that was going on, and in both of us, because of trauma. So now I've learned so much about trauma and have made it like my life's work to really understand it more, learn about how to regulate your nervous system, heal your nervous system, and regain that emotional control and calm and expansion, and so that you just don't, like, life becomes a completely different thing when you have this kind of regulation in place, right? You experience life in such a more positive perspective. You're so much more powerful, and you're less at the mercy and whims of other people's emotions or anything that's happening. And it's just such a better place. But it's taken me quite a while to get there.
May I ask one question? Because you have shared with with us a lot of traumas, no? How were you, how were you from your childhood sexual abuse? How old were you during that time?
5, 6, 7
Oh
years old.
my, oh my. And then how long did this bother you while you were growing? And how were you able to um tell yourself, oh my, I'm not really living my life and I really have to make that shift?
Well, it's sort of the kind of thing where you just keep going, like I did feel, and I wrote about this we are both authors with She Rises Studios, and I contributed a chapter to the book, Me Too, But Never Again, The Healing Journey. And so I wrote about that. The effect that it had on me was an extreme shame. Extreme shame. And I acted out a lot in my teen years with being like sexually precocious, and also this extreme risk taker, and also frankly a binge drinker in my like late teens and early 20s. And thankfully I got into yoga and I just stopped drinking. It was, and I only started drinking again when my marriage started going sideways. So, and that's been another thing I've had to heal is turning to alcohol to regulate my nervous system. So it's only in retrospect that I'm understanding the effect and why I behaved in certain ways in my life and why I was responding in certain ways. It's only with the knowledge that I have now and looking back that I understand how my nervous system was affected by that early abuse and how it shaped a lot of the patterns that then influenced my life, like the low self-worth and shame and things like that really, drove a lot of
did someone
self-harming behaviors, frankly.
Yes. Did someone help you in terms of really help you stand up again?
Yoga was the most powerful force for me. Yes, yoga was huge, has been huge for me. Although I have found it harder to do yoga since everything fell apart, and that's just a strange also thing in the nervous system. But yeah, so going into separation and divorce, I thought life would be so much better because I wouldn't be in conflict with my former husband anymore, but I had no idea how much it would hurt. Like I had no idea how painful it would be, how devastating it would be, the effect that it would have on me. Like, anyway, actually, it still really does bother me. It's been 7 years.
7 years.
So, but we've both done a lot of healing, right? But my daughter became extremely ill, and there were several years of extreme darkness that we went through. But this was also where we found the path to healing and sort of stepped into the light. And so then I've got, it's been like a steady progress of getting better over time. So my thing has always been to push on through no matter what's happening. because I was the family breadwinner, my husband supported me in my communications business, but I was sort of like, it was my business. And then I continued that work as a consultant and writer, no matter what was going on. It's like I could, it didn't matter if we were in like a giant storm, I would have to continue doing this work. And so I've always been one, like I have jaw tension because I grip my jaw and I press on through no matter what, right? A bit like a rhinoceros. And it was actually Reiki, like we got into healing work, my daughter and I, because we needed to. And we both became certified Reiki master teachers, and we both became advanced integrated energy therapy practitioners. I went on and studied EFT, emotional freedom techniques. People know it as tapping, and became a certified master practitioner. So I did a lot of work with other EFT practitioners in the process of doing that master's program, and have worked with EFT practitioners a fair bit, and also with a particular energy therapist who has been incredible, right? So for me, energy healing has been the biggest aspect of rinsing through and moving through the trauma, as well as somatic work that I do, body-based therapeutic work, involving a lot of it's related to yoga, like posture is very important, how you hold yourself, how you carry yourself,
And the
what you do with
breathing,
how you work with breathing, how you work with your jaw and your eyes and things like that is really important. So I do that work as well. And so I gradually got better, and my daughter got better as well in a lot of ways. She has lingering problems, but she doesn't have an eating disorder anymore, right? So that's been huge, and she's moving forward with her life, and she is going to school and moving her forward in her life. We're all moving forward in our lives. But through all of this work in healing myself, I just was possessed very early on with this idea that I had to pay it forward to other people somehow. It's like I gained the sense of purpose, that I'm here, the reason why I'm going through all of this stuff. And I, experienced so many different kinds of things, anxiety, depression, substance problems, grief, like my brother's death was devastating. Shame, the sexual abuse and all that kind of stuff. It's like, well, I can help so many other people now with what they are going through. And now I have all these tools. So that's what really drove me forward. And I developed the Facebook group, Midlife Divorce Transformation, and began working with women to help them heal from the trauma of their marriages ending and all that is, all that's involved in that, right? So yeah, that's that part. Do you have any, I don't know if you want me to keep on going. Other questions?
You have gone through so much, and it seems that what made you really move forward is your purpose, discovering your purpose, and taking uncomfortable action. You took those action steps, or else you'll get stuck in that situation.
Yes, yeah, and it's been challenging because I'm still a consultant, and I'm trying to, because I have to support myself. I don't have a fallback position at all, so I'm doing both things at once. I'm trying to ride two horses at the same time.
Yeah.
So that's okay though.
So it seems that you are still in contact with your husband and still helping.
We have a good relationship now.
Good, yes.
Yeah, we have a good relationship. And so that's really good. And that's good for our kids as well. It's good for each of us, and it's good for our kids. It's just where we were at that time. It just wasn't a possible thing. And we've moved on. We've moved on. So,
relationship is very important in terms of course, within the family, and for us to be able to pursue what we want to pursue. And first of all, your self-care, the health and well-being is important. That would lead to a more meaningful relationship with your family and friends. And what you're doing is truly amazing and awesome, because you're inspiring other people. And you mentioned a while ago that it's not all about what you know, the theories, the principles. It's how you're able to share your story so that others may be inspired and empowered.
And it's also that when I'm working with somebody, I know what it feels like. in a
Yes,
lot of these situations. Like I can identify it so I can key into them energetically really,
exactly.
really well, right? I can attune to what's happening in their emotional body and help them work with it in a really deep way.
And that's
So,
the difference between going to a therapist and going to a coach, a life coach.
right.
Because the life coach, she has gone through that journey and was able to overcome and rise up and evolve. And now progressing, helping others.
Moving forward, yeah, and
Moving
that's
forward.
the big thing. The big difference with the big thing with coaching a course is moving forward. But
Exactly.
that's what I really have learned a lot about is how our nervous systems can stop us from going forward
Uh-huh.
because we get into the stress response or worse, the freeze response, right? The trauma response, and it stops you. It puts you into fear, and
Yes.
then you can't move. You can't do anything. You're frozen. And women also, and this is something I've been learning more. I've been studying with Claire Zamet a bit, Dr. Claire Zamet, the founder of Feminine Power and Evolving Wisdom, and she's developed the woman-centered coaching model. I was just at a big workshop on the weekend, and she was talking about how women have very specific patterns that are culturally and they're inside of us. Like society is not actually saying women you can't do these things.
Mhm.
We're pretty free these days, but we held ourselves back. And it's patterns that women have, like invisibility pattern, like I can't be seen, or I'm not good enough pattern, or I'm not worthy. Like it's really strongly in the feminine psyche. So she offers this pathway through that I've been studying how to help women break through those barriers. And when you combine that with the nervous system work, then you can start to really make progress, right? Like you can
Mhm.
start to take those steps. You have to respect what your nervous system is doing so that you
Mhm.
don't go into overwhelm, because the next thing you start to backslide, you start to sabotage yourself.
Exactly. And what can you say
Yeah.
about those people who, well, I have experienced this, who used to be your longtime friends and then suddenly bashing you with what you're doing and
I haven't experienced that.
uh-huh,
So I hope that I don't. I love my friends. They love me. I'd be
uh-huh,
very surprised if they bashed me.
uh-huh, because they
I've
were
never had it
saying,
happen.
because why
I
do
haven't
you
had it
have to?
happen, but I think that, as I become more visible, I might get bashed. I don't know.
Because others would tell, well, based from experience, why are you sharing those stories to other people? And what, especially in relationship, wherein I was abused, there was domestic abuse.
That
So,
is hard to deal
it,
with, for
yeah,
sure.
and how would the other party uh, take it? And I told her, it's not about, I'm not think, if you're thinking about revenge, no, 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 no. It's about helping those who are stuck. And, uh, and that's the thing. And sometimes, how would you do? I mean, in that situation, what would you do? I
If
would
I
just,
was,
in that situation when someone is bashing you and then putting you down that, hey, it's not the correct way of sharing your story and so on.
I don't, I don't share who abused me when I was a kid. Um, and that's, yeah, I don't think that there's anything that I've ever said that would be harming to anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I know that my
sometimes,
husband and I played equal roles, like we were both dysregulated. So,
uh, well,
yeah.
husband, they still have a role to your children. That's why it's
Yeah,
good
look,
to have that
we
connection.
were not dysregulated. So that our not getting our inability to manage our emotions, that certainly
Uh-huh.
had an effect on our
Yeah.
kids. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it seems that you were able to manifest your dream, having the
Well,
focus on what you're doing right now, the Reiki and the business that you have started.
there's a ways to go. And I do have another book coming out with She Rises, the Self-Love Project.
Uh-huh.
And I
So,
want to write more books. I definitely want to do that. So that's a dream.
but
And
you
I
know
do
what? How I wish I could invite you to be a co-author at my anthology book with She Rises, Dream to Rise.
dream to rise.
Yeah,
Yes.
that is when you mention about from darkness into light, that is my purpose, from trauma to rising up, evolving and progressing. But
Right.
but both of us are in Dream in She Rises, and
Yes,
you have how many books now? You have
just the
just the
two
two.
rises. Yeah.
So you're not with overcoming self-sabotage.
No, there was just too much going on. Like
Yeah.
I'm trying to be mindful of not getting too overwhelmed with I have a lot going on.
A lot of
So I have to be
no,
careful. I have to respect what my nervous system
of
capacity is
course.
to handle
Uh-huh.
stuff. So yeah, I did one. I did two, sorry, two. That was enough. That was enough
Uh-huh.
for
That's
now.
good.
Yep.
That's good. And the main purpose of this is to really share your story so that others may be empowered as well. That,
Yeah.
hey, there is a light at the end of the tunnel and don't stay stuck.
There's light and there's people who can help you. There's people
Yes.
who will hold your hand and help you learn how to heal yourself. Like I'm more of I'm almost as much as of a teacher as I am as a
Mm.
healer. Like I like to teach people how they can help themselves.
Ah, and that's good. And that's
Yeah.
good. So,
Yeah.
uh, what is your goal in the next 12 months?
Well, I would like to get my next book written.
Ah, your own
So
book.
my own book, and I
Ah,
want to
ah.
publish it myself this time. I want to do a self-published book, and my working title at the moment is Woman Rise from the Ashes of Your Marriage.
Oh, so it's more really on the married life.
Recovering from your marriage breakdown, especially if you've been married for a long time.
What is the title again of the book?
This is my working title is Woman Rise from the Ashes of Your Marriage.
Oh,
So
that's
I don't have it written yet, but I also it's in my mind, it's in my heart to have it written, and I want to create my first group coaching program so that I can work with women in groups, not just one-on-one. One-on-one is very beautiful and deep work, but what I've learned from working with other groups of women in healing groups that I'm involved in is that the group situation is so powerful for healing because one of the things about divorce especially is it's very isolating. And
mhm,
trauma is isolating. You
mhm,
hide and like I did it myself for a long time. I hid. Like I
mhm.
was just in a cave. Like
Yeah.
I'm going anywhere. So being in a group and having other women witness you and validate you and actually amplify what they see in you that women we so often don't see our own good qualities, but other women will see them and they amplify you, help you expand your self-concept, and then support each other in little accountability partnerships. Like I want to set up these sacred healing circles is how I think about it. So I want to do group programs and develop that group program into a course, say. So that's what I'd like to do over the next 12 months.
Oh,
Get the book
good.
written, get the program done, get the course done, and build a more solid foundation for my business that way. And so my new initiative is Empower Your Potential. Yeah, to help women break through there's the whole divorce thing, but then that's like, to me, for women my age, it's kind of like I feel like we're all going through so much. We might be either our marriage might be not healthy, or we might be going through divorce. We might have our parents sick and aging, looking after them. Our kids could be facing a lot of problems. We
Mhm.
might have financial problems. There might be career things that are going on. We might be having our own health problems or menopause things or an identity crisis. Like there's so much going on for women in that 50 plus kind of time of life. So those are the women that I want to work with to help them break through their inner barriers, redefine themselves for this part of their life,
Mhm.
this from 50 and on, because people live a long time now. Like there's a whole decades ahead.
Mhm.
And your role as a mother, like that whole identity of being a wife and a mother is starting to, especially if you're not a wife anymore, is really evaporating. It's like, who am I now? What am I going to do? What's going to really speak to me about why I'm here on the planet right now? There's an awful lot that's not
Mhm.
great that's happening right now on the planet, but when women rise, it helps everyone rise. Like women usually have a positive effect on everyone around them if they're
Yes.
like, I think it's tragic the amount of women right now who are really debilitated by the end of their marriage. And I know I was debilitated for quite a long time. So um, that to me is like a tremendous waste of human potential. And for this time of life is when a woman should be stepping into her real power, right? Like
Mhm.
that crone phase of life or whatever, like we're not like we have more freedom because we're not so tied down by mothering roles and all of these stuff, but we get stuck
Mhm.
with if we're traumatized in any way, we get stuck.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so that's that healing that I want to help facilitate for women so they can break through their patterns and develop new dreams, bigger dreams, go after and achieve those dreams. So
Mhm.
our sort of mission is so in alignment, like that your concept of dream to rise is so very similar to where I am.
Uh-huh.
So
That's
I
good.
love that. I love that congruence.
Yeah, thank you. And I agree with you in terms of creating a, a group. That's the main reason.
A growth
Yeah,
container is what Rose
yeah.
Am said.
It
Yeah.
like me, when af- after my clients would finish their program, I would always connect with them every month. And one client was telling me, Cynthia, let's keep connecting. Sure, that's why I always call you every month, but not once a month is not enough for me. And then she said, so I hope we could see see each other more often. And that gave me that spark of light of why not create a mastermind group?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
a mastermind group. So I created my Dream to Rise inner circle as well.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that.
Um,
Dream to rise inner circle. That sounds beautiful.
yeah, so it's a small group, but then all of us are focused on really trying to manifest our dream. And it's we just like what you mentioned, it will help and support each member of the group, because most of
Yes.
the time we are uh, I learned so much when I interact with other people, because
That's the thing. Yes.
yes, it gives us a different perspective on how to view life, how to see struggles and challenges. Most of the time, we always complain, why me? Why me? Why do I have to experience this? And but then learning from other stories, you will now realize that their problem is even more, or my problem is not even a fraction of their problem. So the more you are grateful for your life now, so sharing each one's story, it, as what you've said, it gives you so much enlightenment, so much gratitude in life,
Yes.
because you learn and you view life in a different perspective, and that's how you learn from each other.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
for sure.
I
For sure.
am I agree with you. Create that, and then you will, being a member of that group, you would tell yourself, "Oh, I'm not alone. All of us are experiencing the same pain and struggles in life."
Yeah. And I'm alone is another one of those wounds that holds women back too. It's
Exactly,
very, yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. And
So,
it's been really hard for women.
of course.
Women used to work in community in a different kind of way, like before this kind of modern era that we're in. And where now we've been isolated in these, from each other in these nuclear families, every woman trying to do it all herself and not
Mhm,
having like another woman right there to look after her child. And like, it's a long time since we were tribal, but there were certain things that
mhm,
worked really well for the human species in those old, ancient ways that we used to operate. So it's
mhm.
very hard for women, and it's hard
Yeah.
for men too. Men are going through a lot as well, no question.
Actually, men, they don't even express themselves compared with the women, because I don't know, probably because they feel that it's the society telling them that I should be macho, that I should be
Yeah, it's
strong.
toxic masculinity, and it hurts men
Yes,
too. It hurts
masculinity.
men. It hurts men very badly. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
but yeah, it's sad. It's really sad. Yeah.
Yes. So what do you think would be the major roadblock of you achieving these goals?
Well, it's really just managing my nervous system, and dealing with um learning the technology. Actually, that piece has been hard for me. We were talking about that before. It's not my forte. I'm a big picture person, and I get overwhelmed by technology sometimes. So I am, hoping to get someone to help me with some of that stuff. My own inner glass ceiling has been a fear of visibility. I've been in that hiding pattern for a long time because of the trauma that I've been through, and a lot of the things that I experienced were, a lot of people would consider it stigmatizing. So I've definitely hidden, and it has been very challenging for me to be visible on social media. And so, but actually writing these books with She Rises has helped to break some of that pattern by actually getting out, and it's like, well, there's nothing they can know worse about me now. I'm sort of like told the worst. I don't
It's
need to
now
be
an
scared now because
open book. Your story is now there.
yeah, it's like, okay. The most shameful thing possible, or at least I felt shameful, but then I'm like, why do I feel ashamed? I didn't do anything wrong. I was just,
But
I was a
do you,
kid.
do you feel that are you grateful for what you have gone through in life?
I am actually, and it's not that there's certain things I really do wish I didn't have to live through, but at the same time, I do feel like I'm 1,000 times better person
Ah, that's it.
than I used to be. I have a much bigger heart and compassion and empathy for other people, and I just have more space in me, whatever. Like I've just got a way bigger heart and way bigger goals, a
Yes.
lot. Yeah, I care about people a lot,
See?
much more deeply than I
Yes.
used to have any concept,
See,
right? So,
that's the best gift that we get from all those challenges in life, becoming the best version of ourselves. Right.
right, right. Yeah, and I don't have any regrets
Yes.
about any of the
Uh-huh.
choices I've made. It's just, if it was a mistake, I learned from it. It's like you
Exactly.
compost the crap
And then
and
move
grow from it.
on, move forward.
Move
Yes.
on, move forward. And forgiveness has been huge.
Mhm.
And just accepting that people are imperfect, and when they get emotionally dysregulated, especially, and we've all been traumatized. This human species has been brutal for millennia. We see brutality playing out in the world still today in a very big way, especially in
Mhm.
Ukraine right now. And it's in our DNA, the
Mhm.
trauma, seven
Yes.
generations back from. So we are experiencing our parents' trauma, our grandparents' trauma, all of this trauma. It's in our nervous system, and it makes it harder to regulate our emotions and to act in these resourceful ways that are like, when you're scared, that's when people become defensive and
Mhm.
protective, and they become less generous. They
Mhm.
become less resourceful in their front brain. They go back into the threat detection center. And we saw this happening massively during the pandemic, where
Mhm.
people go into trauma, they go into like pointing fingers all around, blaming everybody else, and
Mhm.
feeling threatened, and then getting like aggressively defensive or whatever. So, but it's in the nervous system. It's not like a character fault or
Yeah.
someone being a bad person. It's just they're actually responding to what their nervous system cues are telling them to do. It's a biological, evolutionary aspect of our physiology. But
Mhm.
when you have the awareness of how the nervous system works, and you can have the self awareness to observe yourself and go, oh, I'm dysregulated. Look what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then you can step back and go, oh, okay, I'm not being a good person right now. I'm being defensive, or I'm being, I'm doing whatever I'm doing. I'm not taking responsibility for my own emotional
Mhm.
state, or I'm blaming somebody else, or whatever I'm doing. So having that awareness, and then the tools of like yoga or breath work or tapping, working with the eyes. There's so many methods where you can learn, even going for walks in nature is huge, listening to music, all these things that we can do to re-regulate and reground our energy. And then we can see everybody else with more compassion. We can take,
Yes.
more well-resourced actions that are smarter,
Uh-huh.
like more
Uh-huh.
we're more generous, we're more kind, all of those things. So that's part of my mission too. It's not just like helping women through divorce or helping women achieve their goals. It's more like helping people know how to manage their nervous system so
Exactly.
we can be better as a species, because we
Yes.
need to be, right?
Exactly. Just like
So
we cannot remove or really remove fear in our lives. It will always come to us. It's just
When
a
we're
matter
triggered,
of
we're triggered. Yep.
how we manage it. Instead of fear overpowering us, how do we manage ourselves over?
Yeah, and I think, and that's where it's not only a matter of just like not reacting, learning how to not react to
Mhm.
triggers. It's also this idea of expanding ourselves to become these much bigger containers for love and compassion,
Yes.
for peace and
Yes.
tolerance and
Yes.
all of those things that are so important. And
Yes. So
yeah,
I know you have shared so many advices, but could you give me one last advice to our listeners in terms of what you've learned in life? What simple
to be
advice?
patient with themselves,
Yes.
to
Mm-hmm.
be compassionate with themselves and not beat themselves up when they think they've made a mistake.
Yes.
Just understand making mistakes is what humans do, and we just grow from our mistakes, and to forgive themselves as the foundation for moving forward.
Yes.
Because if you're in non-forgiveness of yourself, you're not going to move forward.
Exactly. You'll still be in that jail mode. You
Yes,
uh-huh.
we imprison
Listen.
ourselves.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Would you like to share your contact information so if others would like to get in touch with you, how
Yeah,
could they
sure.
connect with you?
Okay, well, my website URL is www.empoweryourpotential, all run together.ca. My email is melanie@melaniestarr.ca. And there's two R's in star. So it's MELANIE at melaniestarr.ca. I'm in Canada.
Uh-huh.
Or
And
I
then
can
how
use
about the social media, the Facebook?
Facebook. Yeah, they can just find me under Melanie Starr. My business page is Empower Your Potential with Melanie Starr. I'm on LinkedIn under my name as well. I'm on Instagram under empower_your_potential_. I don't.
Also,
I
LinkedIn
haven't
is
really gotten my Instagram going again. It's this technology holdback I have.
so
Instagram is like, I don't get it.
empower underscore in
Your
Instagram.
underscore potential underscore. Yeah.
Your underscore potential underscore.
And
Oh,
like empowering your potential doesn't mean that you have to like earn a ton of money or climb Mount Everest or anything. It could be, what's your potential to be at peace? What's
yes.
your potential to appreciate life and to be able to see the beauty in every moment, right? Like,
Yes.
because people are caught, we're so caught in our heads even. So everyone's, but people have amazing potentials within them, but what do they want to develop? And, it's not like everybody has to be, it's not a competition, put it
Yes.
that
Uh-huh.
way.
We
It's what
should
people
be
want for
in
themselves.
union with one another, not not separating us from the others.
Yeah,
So
we're all
thank
one.
yes, we're all one. So
We
thank you
are
so
all one.
much, Melanie, for your time.
Thank you. Thank
Uh-huh.
you, Cynthia.
Uh-huh.
It's
It's
a real
really a
pleasure.
pleasure to have you here.
You'll have to come on my show.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, I'll accept it.
Awesome. Thank you
Okay.
so much. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. And for the listeners, thank you so much for listening to our new episode. And till next time, bye bye to all.